Welcome to this edition of Car and Driver. I'm Jim Scouten with the question of the week. What's the right choice in maximum muscle pony cars when you'd also like your performance driving in the wind? It's a Car and Driver comparison with the editors testing the hot ones from Ford, Chevy, and Pontiac. Call these the keepers of the flame, the throwbacks to American rear-drive V8 power. Ford's new for '99 Mustang Cobra with more horses and for the first time independent rear suspension. Pontiac's Ram Air Trans Am with the optional 30th anniversary limited edition graphics. And Chevrolet's Camaro SS with through-the-hood breathing and a more pronounced spoiler at the rear. Each of these brings 320 horses, and each is very close to 3,600 pounds. And that means action. The Trans Am and the Camaro on paper are the same car, sharing the same powertrain, starting with the LS1 pushrod 16-valve V8, rated at 320 horses, 335 foot-pounds of torque. Both are backed by a 6-speed stirred by a Hurst shifter. The package is pure delight.
You have 320 horsepower, you have a broad power band, and it's just intoxicating. We drove back from a diner on 2-lane roads, and passing is just absolutely effortless. You don't have to be looking for just the right spot and going down 7 gears and all this stuff. You put your foot down and the cars just go, and you can really get used to that very quickly.
But there are differences. The Trans Am ran a dead heat to 60, but then pulled away from the Camaro in the quarter and on up to post the highest top speed of the three.
There's a lot to like about that car. One, it is the fastest. In a Car and Driver, we like things that go fast. And 163 miles an hour in a car that you can drive to work every day, that's pretty amazing.
But the Ram Air finishes third in the voting on 3 points. The handling is not as crisp with softer suspension settings. Then there's price. Pontiac lays on the goodies in this car. That and the 30th anniversary option pushed the sticker to $37,000. And then styling.
No question about it. This car really is the most distinctive of all of them out here. Unfortunately, a lot of people thought it was a little bit too distinctive. It seems like with 16-year-old McDonald's driving attendants, this was by far the most popular car. And although it finished last in our test, it finished an awfully close third place.
The Special Vehicle Team's Cobra runs a far more sophisticated engine, spotting the GMF body's 65 cubic inches, but winding higher with 32 valves and 4 cams to make its 320 horses. But the power's not readily available.
The odd thing is that we don't really see it on the track, and you don't really feel it on the seat of your pants either. It's still impressive. The engine makes great noises, but it doesn't have the real broad, brawny torque band of the F-bodies, and it shows. You have to wind this engine out in order to get the power out of it.
And by the time you find the power, you've lost. This Cobra needed 6 full seconds to 60, while the Camaro and Firebird could make the jump in 5.3.
I'd still rather have the engine of the other two vehicles, despite the fact that it's not as sophisticated.
On the track, the new independent rear suspension is immediately apparent, the handling much more controlled than in any previous Mustang. But it, too, is a disappointment.
It's kind of funny. I got in here kind of hoping that this would be a real sports car thoroughbred and maybe seeing if that would happen, but it didn't. There's still a hint of clumsiness in this car every once in a while.
The Cobra got good marks for the best visibility for the driver, but some of that came from the high driving position in the seats nobody liked. And the Cobra is the least expensive of the three at $32,190. But in the vote, second place.
Well, the Camaro SS is the best all-around car in the group. It's just about the fastest car here. It's great on the racetrack with terrific handling, very nice steering, very easy to control. And we think it's the sleekest looking car of the bunch. It catches your eye, it looks like it's going 100 miles an hour standing still, but it doesn't shift over into the garish side. It's the car we'd most like to be seen in.
Especially the car to be seen in on the track, where the suspension proved more controlled than the Firebird, and tail-out slides were the entertainment of the day. On the road, the Camaro seemed less like a midlife crisis than a sensible way to recapture V8 excitement from the past. And to do that in a 160-mile-per-hour daily driver for $34,000 is still the bargain of the decade. So it's Chevy, Ford, and then Pontiac, if you follow the editor's recommendations, pointing out that there are significant differences in the Camaro and Firebird, even though they share the same engine and come out of the same plant. As for the Cobra, well, the handling is much improved with the new independent rear suspension. But even with claims of more power this year from the 32-valve V8, there's not enough improvement yet to beat Chevy in the voting or on the